I can get it.
just fighting tears the whole time.
Oh, it hurt so bad. It took me 12 hours to get it out.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
So back to the actual conversation instead of my diet and teeth.
Thought that was it. Thought that was what we were talking about.
So I've been a part of the traveling experience, the filming experience for the past couple of years. That big boom, which is kind of what the whole field of food thing kind of got its start from. When I went to Pennsylvania last year, the area that I was deer hunting was smacked hard with EHD, and as a conservationist, I was torn between, do I keep hunting here knowing that I'm going to hurt the population, or do I continue what I'm doing knowing that I'm making content? And that one was a tug in both directions. Like obviously it's not just content. The big thing is what's behind the camera here, which is our freezers. So I was like, well, I'm no matter what gonna eat the deer, but these aren't my deer. Although I paid for the tag, I paid for the license, I paid to get here. I don't consider PA deer my deer. I consider Ohio deer my deer, but it's a very different thing when you're going into someone else's backyard essentially and hunting their deer. Knowing that there's going to be tightening across the United States, I am fine with making that switch to being a little bit more of a local hunter for the next 5-6 years, because I think there is a shift and there is a stigma that we have to start recognizing, because we are going after other people's deer. My personal opinion.
I don't look at it the same way as like PA deer, their deer, Ohio deer, my deer. It's not my deer until the tag's on it.
Right.
Then it's just a deer. I don't ever I don't get the thing where like, we've all heard it, like a guy shoots a big buck and some guy's like, I was watching that deer all summer.
See, that's
it's different, but at the same time, it's like nobody owns the deer.
Yeah.
The deer, like just because it's in my state, it's not my deer. I have just as much right to shoot that deer as if I went to Pennsylvania and bought a license and shot deer there. It's the same amount to me.
Yeah.
I don't look at it that way. And when you said about hunting the EHD area and affecting the herd, in my mind, if the herd was in that much of a decline and it was that tight, the Division of Wildlife would have stepped in and been like, hey,
I do.
No hunting here this year.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes on the same plane as public lands. Public lands is everybody's land, whether it's here in Ohio as us residents or Nebraska, Iowa, Montana, Pennsylvania. Public lands are public lands.
Yeah.
And they're there for our use and enjoyment.
100%.
That's fair. There was definitely a guilt when I wound up shooting that doe last year, like especially because I couldn't find it.
You're garbage for that.
Don't worry, I had 2.5 hours to tell myself that driving home.
Shame.
But no, it was like I was a guest in someone else's house, and
I definitely understand the sentiment.
Hunter, yeah.
There was red flags that I was acknowledging and being cautious of, and then wound up shooting a doe and not being able to find it. Like I didn't go back to PA after that. Like, nope, that's my tag. Done.
Losing a deer sucks no matter what time of year, what time of day, where you're at in the location. Losing an animal as a hunter is one of the worst feelings that I have ever experienced.
It's not even just deer. It's any animal.
Yeah.
I feel bad when it happens to birds.
Yeah.
I've shot a grouse and my dog couldn't find it and it ran off. I knew I hit it, but
I've shot squirrels and couldn't find them. Like,
that's definitely one of the uglier sides to hunting is loss.
It's gonna happen. You're never not gonna experience that.
Oh yeah, if you consider yourself a hunter, you have at that point probably already lost it.
Oh yeah, you've had a moment where you feel that big.
Oh yeah.
And you feel like nothing can make it better.
And I feel like a true hunter feels like that. Like I talk to guys at work, they're like, oh, who cares? It's just a bird. But it's not just a bird to me.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's more than a bird. I traveled all the way to Michigan to shoot that grouse, and I let it die, and I didn't get to harvest it.
Yeah. How many hours did you put in the tree to shoot that deer, and then you didn't find it?
Yeah.
I think any hunter worth their salt will absolutely do everything they can in the moment, in the preparation, in the effort to recover, to find that animal.
Right.
There's a lot more emotion than people know.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of emotion.
I've gotten emotional a couple of times.
I
find a deer, or finding a deer knowing that I just took that life.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. It's not uncommon at all.
Like I hit a buck last year on November 11th, and looked for 2 days, didn't find it, and that was it. And I was like, well, that's my season.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm not coming back. I'm not one.
That's not you saying, "Oh, I'm taking my ball and going home." You were like, "No, like I have respect for this."
That was it.
And you're like, "Okay."
I shot 2 does, and then I hit that buck, and in my county, it's a 3 deer county. I was like, well, that's it.
Your third.
Yep, that was my third. I'm out.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. And I think it's important that we do that, especially where we are in our stages, not only of life, but as hunters, is that we have to recognize our own boundaries and the respect for the other guys and gals that are out there hunting, that we have a responsibility, that they get the same amount of enjoyment. Even though we don't know their names, we still have to respect that there's other people out there doing the same thing that we are.
You want everyone to have fun.
Yeah.
You want everyone to be successful in some way.
Yeah.
Whatever your definition of successful is. Like, I wish everyone had just a banger year and killed 160s. But it's not going to happen. I know some people just don't care about that.
No.
And there's some days that success is defined by actually getting to kill the animal that you're hunting. But that's the one day that happens if you're hunting deer.
Yeah.
All the other days, I think, can be measured by just the experience sitting in your tree stand, the experience walking into the woods before sunrise, watching that sunrise come up. To me, that's just as successful as actually getting to harvest an animal.
Well, Chris, I can't tell you how many times I've heard you say you'd much rather have a good day with your dog than a good day with the birds.
I don't care about shooting the birds. I mean, honestly, if I couldn't shoot the birds and I could just go up there and run my dog on the birds,
yeah,
I'd do that just the same amount as I do now.
Yeah.
Just with a cap gun, you know what I mean? It's not about harvesting the bird.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, I like to harvest a bird here and there, but
it is nice.
Well, how many times have you guys been out bow hunting and not seen a deer, but still had, like, you came out of the woods like in a better mood because something you saw or something you heard? Yeah.
Well, whether it's a good sunrise or sunset, or you were dealing with something on your shoulder and being out there got rid of it, watching the squirrels, listening to the birds, and if you really want to like tickle your mind just a little bit, start looking at what kind of birds are chirping and why and stuff like that, and then you can actually like really get lost in just being out there when you start getting your knowledge base a little bit deeper on the woods itself. Like I love deer hunting, but as I'm going through my journey as a hunter, I'm starting to respect what else is out there a lot more than I used to.
We're getting to that point to where it's not about killing anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you were younger, yeah, man, it was, you wanted to be a killer. And then you've done it. And now you're kind of like, we're all kind of weaning out of that, like, I have to kill my limit, I have to kill a buck. You're just kind of like, I just want to go to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of an escape.
Well, it's funny you say that. Although that is very much the path that I am proudly walking down. I'm giving myself, now that I'm actually saying out loud on the podcast, I have to do it. I'm giving myself.
That, everybody, we're gonna hold them to it.
I'm giving myself a very specific challenge this year.
All right.
Kill a deer with a rock.
No. No. Not that. So I've always put a lot of emphasis and weight into October and November, which I think most guys do. In the past, last year specifically was a really big eye opener, and the year before that was kind of start of it. I want to do a lot more late season hunting.
I've been wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah. Which is why we're planning that trip to that specific
undisclosed location.
And
no one
by the tree with the rock in the hill.
Yeah.
You will see that video coming early January 2025. The challenge is going to be kill one deer per month of season. So,
oh, wow.
So we end, or we began the last weekend of September. So, and then we end the
first Sunday or Saturday in February.
Of February. So those I would say would be the two most challenging ones, just because the window is small,
right?
Which is going to lead to a lot of in September preseason scouting. So that would take me to my state limit, which is 6 deer here in Ohio.
You can do that in 2 counties, though.
Could, yeah. It's going to be tricky because you're only allowed 1 public land doe and 1 buck for the entire state. So I'm going to have to get a couple more permissions over the next couple months to wind up making this happen, which the property that
Right.
you and I were talking about last time we spoke about it, that's probably going to be my September spot.
Yeah, we can go stop down there. And,
Yeah, we're going to have to jump on that if this is, now that I'm saying it out loud, going to have to pursue. But it's not so much as the segue for this was the kill. It's more of giving myself the challenge of understanding the dynamic change in every single month. Like October and November, we know those ones.
Yeah.
We got those ones
are the
down.
coveted
And then
Yeah.
going out of November into December, you can see the change again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but I really don't. I haven't done a lot of hunting post gun season.
Yeah.
Like usually by then I have all I need as far as like meat in the freezer goes.
Yeah.
So I have no need to go out muzzleloader or late season bow. But like the past few years, I'm like, man, I really want to try it. I want to dive into that, Christmas to the end of the season hunting.
Yep. Which is kind of where I'm at. When I went for muzzleloader
Like we talked
last
about
year.
muzzleloader camp,
Yeah.
and I'm in. Like I will specifically set aside a tag for that.
Same.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking is I'm going to have to sit on that public land doe until then because that's probably going to be a public land trip to accommodate all of us.
Right.
So when I was doing mud season last year, I was hunting a piece of private and we had a really warm December last year, which I think is the new trend now.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I was sitting there watching deer eat on a green wet field in the middle or the beginning of January, and I'm watching them where they came from, and they came out into the field super late. I was like, if you're hungry, and this is your green best food source right now because there's no ag in January, why did you get here so late? And then I was looking at the trees, and there were little buds up on the trees. All the morphlora was budding, and I was like,
They're chewing on the buds.
they're chewing on the buds because there's a lot of nutrition in there.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm interested now. You have my attention. So someone come get me because it's going to be a very interesting 2024-25 year. So that's where this kind of stemmed from, and it's going to be a hard challenge. But it's not about the kill. It's about understanding the
But you have the opportunity to learn so much
yes.
about the time of year that you didn't really ever think twice about.
Yeah, and with Casey and I thinking about starting a family in the next couple of years, and some changes going on through my professional life, I'm not going to be able to take those 3 weeks in October, those 3 weeks in November.
Right.
So the more understanding that you have of September, October, November, December, January, February.
6 months.
Thank you. Thank you.
I waited until you got to
You
5.
could have just saved me that.
I waited until you got to 5, but he'll get it. Don't worry, he's got this.
So a 6 month season, like if you could like sprinkle your time out a little bit more and have a better understanding of the seasons itself, do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Learn now.
And I've kind of been in the shoes that you're looking forward to. My son is 6, my daughter is 3. I've been hunting those late seasons for the last 6 years because I don't have that time to take all of October, all of November off.
Yeah.
My time has been sprinkled through, and I will definitely continue taking that late October, November time off. But it's not going to be as consistent. So I've put a lot of effort into Ohio's late gun season. I've always done Ohio muzzleloader season, and I've gone out to public land with my bow, unsuccessfully, but doing the same thing that you're thinking about doing. I don't think quite as on the big of a scale, but I've started trying to pattern deer in late winter because I know they've still got Ohio gun season in the back of their mind. They're still going to be nervous.
Yeah.
They're still looking for any kind of forage if we ever do have a hard winter here again.
Right.
Fortunately for the wildlife, we've had some easy winters, which I think is really helping. I mean, right now, just in the last 5 days, I've seen a ton of fawns running around.
Yeah.
Little tiny ones, which they're always there, but you never see them. And the fact that we're seeing them, I think, means that a lot of does made it through, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
We had that early spring, but as far as late season hunting, it's a grind.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is, but it's worth it. There's a lot of information there that I know I haven't even touched yet. I'm just scratching the surface. I'm trying to get out and be a weekend warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, I love the early season. I love the first week.
I do too.
That's my favorite week of the year to bow hunt.
So I think about that because you have the summer pattern for feed on them.
Now, there were years my opening day was measured in minutes.
Really?
I could tell you exactly when the deer were going to come in. I mean, I never any giant bucks that time of year for us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Which I think is property dependent.
but I mean, I love shooting does.
So do I.
So I'll shoot. I mean, I went 5 or 6 years where I think the longest hunt I had opening day was an hour and a half. Out of 6 years,
That's pretty good.
there were some years where it was like I hit the seat and looked up. I'm like, here they come. And you can just see
I
them
planned
coming.
it just right.
There was one year I was
gonna
running
make
late
it
and I
just
got
better.
in the stand like I think 10 minutes after legal because I was still working night shift. I went home, showered, got
Right.
dressed, and walked. Crap, I'm late. I mean, I sat down and as soon as I got my bow up, I looked up and they're coming down the hill. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is going to be a quick one.
Yeah. That's a fast one.
It was quick enough to where when I called Dad, he was like, what? I was like, I got one. He's like, no, shut up.
You just got there.
He's like, we just got this now. I was like, and I'm done. But no, early season for me is my favorite. I love it. When you start to get to like October 15th, that third week of like end of the second, beginning of the third week of October for me is my least favorite.
Yeah.
And then right about, I'll say 5 days before Halloween. And then up until like
Yeah.
the midway through the second week in November.
That 23rd to 25th of October.
That super pre-rut.
There's a good shift right there that I'm a big fan of.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but the thing is, like what I've noticed, it's never like you never just kind of see it come. It's just like overnight. It's
It
like
happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
a flip switch is on all their
Yeah.
minds. Like, okay,
Yep.
now we're gonna start.
Yep.
And those things like those changes are predictable, especially like when we have a property that we don't touch until November, which works out really well because there's a lot of hunting pressure around it, but there's
Yeah.
zero ground scent on that property.
Your place has become a sanctuary for them
Yeah.
until November, and they still you have them kind of fooled. They think it's safe.
But and we see that change throughout most of October, and there's tighter groups of deer and better deer movement, and we're lucky enough to have permission on that property that the bedding area is 200 yards, 250 yards from a ag field.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. You just have to have the patience to not get in there.
Yeah.
That's like the one spot I have. They bed. There's like the woods come up and then they finger off. They bed in the finger. And there's ag right here, but the creek runs down the back where the bend is. You saw it. The bend is the lowest spot of the creek, so that's where they cross. And primarily it's a west wind coming out.